Okay, my name is Digital Bimpe. I'm your facilitator for this training. I'll be teaching you regarding. All right, that's a very smart perspective. I appreciate that. Okay, so let me break things down that revolves around blogging. Yeah, of using YouTube. So, but that does not mean that YouTube is not synchronized on the blog. It's actually synchronized on the blog, but people do not have knowledge about it, and that's why the blog training will actually put you through on everything that you need to know regarding synchronizing your YouTube into the blog and still putting down some of your thoughts on it. So we have different categories of blog, like I made mention. I think I've talked about the aspect of having different topics, and it's also good you know your niche, and it's also good you know what you can do. Even though you'll be using Tre blog for the practical and its brand is all about traveling, you can still do something regarding your niche. So if I should ask you, have you ever written something down? Like, have you ever written something down? Kindly share.
Okay, I was doing writing some time back.
Okay.
That must be more than 10 years ago.
Okay.
I was so much into writing because for me, I liked documenting things.
Okay.
Not until I was writing it like hard copy, not online.
Okay.
But once I lost that information, I lost my journal. I stopped it because I felt that it wasn't safe
Okay.
to continue writing because you don't know the next thing. Maybe when you lose, you don't know on whose hands it will fall into. So it's been a while since I wrote.
Oh, what year was that, if I may ask?
Around 2013, 2014.
Oh wow, that's a long year, but that's something we can work with that. So what is that? What exactly do you actually do for a living aside writing? Like what is like your major field, if I may ask?
Okay, I'm into customer service.
Oh wow.
Currently, I am I have done customer service for a very long time.
Wow.
That is from 2013 until presently.
Okay.
Last year, but at the same time, I'm also working with charitable organizations.
NGOs.
NGOs, but not in Kenya.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm working with one at the moment, but also there's another one that we are trying to set up here in Kenya.
Okay.
But no, this one will not be an NGO. It's just a group that they're trying to help the less fortunate.
Wow.
And also the elderly.
Wow. That's impressive. You have a good portfolio. You have customer service portfolio, NGO portfolio, and all. I'm also into NGO. I have my own NGO, Global Youth Alliance for Change. It's strictly for youths all over the world, focusing on SDG goals. So all over the world, yeah, like different part of the world. And I think it's a combination of both adolescent and adult. So I didn't restrict it. So I really am very impressed. So now if I may ask you, what kind of blog do you want to specialize in? What kind of topics? Because you need to figure that out. You need to write it down. So that way, when it comes to the practical, that is what you'll be focusing on. So if I should ask you, because I like to ask people what they like to do, because it's what you like to do that you can eventually monetize from. So I'm still going to give you some updates on some other aspects you need to know. But yeah, what aspect of blog do you want to cover? What topic?
Okay, just to be clear, do I have to specialize only on one thing, or I can blog about different things?
That's a good question. Very intelligent. Actually, you can blog about different things. You can blog news. You can blog anything. You can even sometimes in blogging, you can write it down. You can write your blog from scratch, and you can also use AI to also learn how to make your blogging effective. So if I should ask you, are you conversant with AI? Because in the practical, I'll teach you how to use AI for your blog.
AI is much easier.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not really conversant with it because I don't use it much. What I have tried to use is ChatGPT.
Okay.
Of which it has been helpful here and there, but I'm not so much into it.
Okay. All right. So we will use that one that you know, but I also have one that I can recommend, but we can do that in the practical. So you compare the two. So it's not a must that you have to blog from your head. Actually, people are making money on blog without blogging from their head. Though when I started blogging in the year 2016, and it's actually been 9 years as a blog. Yeah. And I can tell you for a fact that when I started from using my head, and later on now artificial intelligence in 2025 and 2024, I started making use of the AI. And now even in the blog, maybe later on your own personal side, or you will see that now AI is now included in blog features. So you can now use AI for keyword search. So a lot of things have changed. So try uses AI. I use this AI and it's very effective. Then I also recommend using other people as sources. So probably because it's a practical class and you may be very busy. So basically, if you reference to somebody, you have to say, I got this source from this person. So if you have a particular Kenya blogger, do you have any Kenya blogger that you follow? Do you have anyone?
Yeah, I have several, but mostly I do with the news. I
Oh,
follow
wow.
the news because I don't really have time to sit down and watch the news. So I prefer just wherever I am, I just go through the news and see what's happening around the country and around the
Oh
world.
wow, that's interesting. Yeah, like Trey. Trey is it?
Any specific news channels you watch? Like
find out what's going on in world news? No, the news. I watch Dylan Page.
Okay.
Locally, I watch the news guy.
Oh, okay, that's good. Are you CNN? Oh, okay. All right. I use CNN and I use BBC. I use Linda. What do you say?
Those are two popular ones here.
Yeah.
Maybe you should buy it, especially Fox, FX, Okay.
Yeah. So I think those ones you can use. So it seems you like news. You can blog about news. So you can actually reference news sources on the blog. So you necessarily don't even, some news sources are very active actually. So in the morning before you wake up.
Just a point of correction. I don't like news.
Okay.
I like to put myself up to speed with what's happening in the world, because it's not like I can sit down and watch news.
Okay.
I like it. It's just that I don't want to be blindsided by the events that's going on.
Okay, I get it. Okay. Yeah. You have the same similarities with Trey on that. Okay, moving on. You can actually use news. You can use any source. It doesn't have to be news. Whatever field, you can just go. You can use Wikipedia. You can use forums. I know some Kenya. I think there's a particular Kenya forum that I'm into. Fatima's Voice. So they have different people who come there share their opinion. So you can use forums. You can use different sources. But most importantly, in blogging, you are not expected to plagiarize. And that is where the references comes into place. When you carry their stories, you acknowledge that this is where you got the source from. Because a lot of media personalities, a lot of bloggers who have been earning money on websites, when they don't credit people's story, they get arrested. So yes, they can sue you. So that's another thing you need to know. They can actually sue you. I've seen scenarios where they send you a mail and they tell you to take it down. It's like YouTube. When you use somebody's story on YouTube, you say, I got this report from them. This is a YouTuber. Because if you use people's story, you use their content, you should credit them because it has monetization policy for them. But for websites, it's not the same. It's just that YouTube own is a little bit stricter. Okay, but website is not the same, blog is not the same. You can use and they will not sue them. Like what I mean is that they will not take down their earnings, but YouTube, they can take down their earnings. There's a difference. But they still want you to credit them because they work hard to get the story. So they are expecting you to make sure you acknowledge them, because maybe it's a traveling person. He went to Kenya, maybe a foreigner went to Kenya. He carried his family and all of those people. He blogged about it. And then one blogger from nowhere who have never been to Kenya took down his story, posted it on the blog. How will you feel? If you were the white person, you definitely feel angry. Like, why would you take my story without crediting me? So if you have questions, you can ask me. Do you have any question?
Yeah, so far it's clear.
All right. So moving on, we move to the qualities of a blogger. I always like to talk about qualities. Now that we have done with the introduction and everything you need to know, the reason why I teach this way is because I've been teaching people like this for 9 years. So I'm already probably used to it. That's why most of the time in my training, I don't work with presentation slides because I have most of it on my head. When you teach people, it becomes a part of you sometimes. But one thing is that if you have questions, you have opinion, you want to add, you can add, because in this training, I also learn from my trainees. So that's the essence of this class. All right, so the qualities of a blogger, you need to take note of it because you will need it later on in the future. Because if you're thinking of blogging as a career and you're thinking of earning, because definitely on Tress site, like I said, there's an update I will drop regarding that monetization aspect. Now, the qualities of a blogger. Number one, you need to be very creative. What do I mean by creative? You need to be able to think something differently from your ideas. Like God has given you an idea that you know that if you put it out there, it's going to be very unique. So you have to bring out that idea, not any other person's idea, your own idea. Even though throughout the introductory part, I said you can use people's story, you can use AI and the rest, you can still come up with your own idea, even though you use those people. And people will be like, oh, this is coming from this so person. So another thing you need to know, you must have a name for your blog. You must write down the name you want to use for your blog, because whatever name you use is a name that they will use to remember you. Okay, that, oh, this blogger, I read your blog. Wow, so it's you. Do you get what I'm saying? So whatever name, you have to think of the name. So your name must be creative as well. You have to think of a name. So as we are talking, we started your training by 3. Definitely. So we're supposed to finish in my time by 5. So what's it be coming up with a name that you want to use for your blog, the name that people will be like, oh, I read your blog, it's nice, thank you for sharing it, something like that. Because definitely you will get feedback as long as your blog has something. I'm going to go there. The purpose of blog, I'll go there. So yeah, number one, you have to be creative. Come up with creative stuff. Come up with something given to you by God, okay? Not just any other person. Then number 2, you have to be very consistent. Okay, if you're doing blogging, like I said, I've been doing it for 9 years, and people that have actually trained, many of them, from my experience, some of them were able to last longer, and some of them just stopped because I would say it's as a result of the economy, because most of the people I train are usually from my region, Nigeria. Then I think I've trained other people who worked as an intern. I think one was from Tunisia, another was from Kenya, and I think another one was from Pakistan and different countries. So I noticed that some of them, when they start, it becomes exciting, but later on they move to different things and all. So if you're seeing it as a career path, you need to be very consistent. If you're seeing it as a way you will be earning from it, you need to be consistent. So consistent means you need to have a content calendar. You need to have a blog calendar. You need to know when you want to post, because your audience, they want to know when you want to be posting. So I used to believe in this quote that says, cut your coat according to your size, and don't do more than yourself. Okay, so if you know, like the task I'm going to be giving you now, I think since your training is Saturday, throughout your 1 month training, right, you should try to stick with maybe one task. Okay, one blog post. I don't know how you want to do it, but you give us feedback how many times you can be posting. If you want to be posting once a week, it depends. Just let us know. Do you get? Yes. So it's also important, because I know you have other different things. So if you want to post once a week on because you'll be using Tresa, let us know. If you want to post twice a week, let us know, because in the practical class, you definitely have to be more practical. So the third one, aside being consistent, the third one is you need to be a researcher. You need to be somebody who research things. If you know you don't have the ability to research things, then this is not your field, because you definitely have to go look for sources, use AI and the rest to make sure that whatever thing you're putting out there is accurate. Because if you post a wrong information, especially the government, I think the government are very key on false information. So if you are sending down misinformation to the media, you can be arrested. So that is why your research must have to be accurate. So you have to be a good researcher. Then 4, you must be a reader. And I can tell you give me that personality that you read a lot. So you must be a reader. You must be reading things. It's not just only on the news. Read stories, magazine, anything you can read, just read. Because in blogging, you need to expand your grammars, your vocabularies, everything just have to rhyme and make sense, okay? Then that's number 4. Number 5, you need to be very curious. You need to have that aspect of curiosity in you. When you go out there, you must have an eye for details. Blogging is almost similar to journalism, but it's just that journalism is what comprises blogging. Okay, so you need to have a high details. You need to be very curious. When you go out there, you need to open your eyes to see. Be curious, like, how did they do this? Just be curious. Okay, even when you see other people's sites, you look at how they did their own. How can I do better? How can I make my own better so that I can earn more than the way they are earning? You have to go check other people, be curious, and ask questions. Okay, you must be someone who likes to ask questions. Ask questions, still under curiosity. Then another thing I would have loved to add would be observation, but that's the next quality. You need to be observant as a blogger. You need to observe people. People will say maybe you're doing what we call detective work, but yeah, if you go out there, because let's just say in a career path, if you don't want to be a personal blogger, that means you own your personal blog and you monetize something. Let's just, maybe in career path, you want to work for a blogging firm, because definitely in Kenya, you have people who own websites, right? And they tell you to manage it. They'll pay you very well, because the salary range is very good, but they'll tell you maybe you can blog like 5 posts, 6 posts and all. But if it's personal blog, you know how you arrange your own, but their own is very different. Okay, so now the aspect of the observation is, let's say for instance, maybe you're giving a gig, or you're supposed to go out there and report a blog story. You have to observe. Maybe it's a celebrity. The celebrity don't need to know that you're a blogger. You don't need to go and meet them and say, I'm a blogger, except you feel like meeting them. Maybe they ask you to meet them, but in a situation they didn't ask you to meet them, they just want you to write a report about them. What do you observe about them, and put it in the blog? Because sometimes, let's be honest, not every celebrities are approachable. So you have to use your common sense to know how you're going to report that story and make sure that your company will not have an issue with you having one clash with a celebrity and it goes on the news. Okay, so the next thing is you must be a critical thinker. You must be able to think outside the box. That should be number 6, I believe. You should be able to think outside the box. Think beyond the ordinarily. If this person is seeing apple, you should be seeing pineapple. If this person is seeing something else from your own direction, you should see something different. Like, what can we do differently in this blog? Like, if you look at Tresa site now, you can come up with your own idea and be like, okay, I could do something different from his own blog. It doesn't have to be traveling. So that's another aspect of critical thinking. Okay, now number 7, you need to be very patient. You need to be patient with your journey of blogging. When you start, you may not be that perfect. You may not have it 100%, okay? You need to be patient. You may not have all the traffics, okay? You may start with one person reading your blog. That's fine. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your readers, okay? Because Rome wasn't built in a day. So if you really want to take this seriously, you have to be patient with your growth. And then you should need to avoid comparison, okay? Avoid comparison. You don't need to compare yourself. That's another quality. Avoid comparison. I think there's a particular grammar to you need to be confident. Yes, that's the word. You need to be confident in, that's number 8 quality. You need to be confident in your work, in your field. Okay, it doesn't mean you're just starting it. You need to be confident that you would excel at it. and you will be so good to the point that when you go out, people be like, oh, I know you blog this. Sometimes when I go out in my church, I see some people be like, people that I don't even know, they'll be like, oh, I read your blog, just like that. Sometimes it could be in a forum, be like, oh, are you this person that wrote? Sometimes it's like that, but you need to give yourself that level of confidence. And sometimes I can be very mysterious that you might read my story and you might not even know that it's me. I can be an anonymous blogger. So that's another thing. You need to know which type of blogger you want to be. Do you want to be anonymous or do you want to be public? When you're public, everybody knows you. Yeah. So you need to, like I said, you need to, where did I stop so that I know that you're following my flow of thoughts? Where did I stop?
For the points?
Yes, for the qualities.
Yeah, avoid comparison, that is be confident.
Yes, being confident. Thank you for following. So you need to be confident, okay? Have confidence in yourself. If any, you see, another thing I want to say is the next quality. You need to be very constructive with feedbacks. That's the next thing I want to say. But that's where that confidence almost key in. There are people that are really going to come to your comment section and criticize you. And I think Trey, he has that same experience.
Oh, yeah. I had one of my friends, because I'm Catholic as well, and there was something that was posted on the blog, and it was a little upset because it's contradictory to, focus on one thing. I'm looking at all aspects of stuff. I started to be negative about it with him because I was really annoyed because I'm like, if you're not going to say anything positive, don't even respond to like a whole freaking paragraph. I was like, oh God, what the hell is this? But after I explained that, I guess she understood all disagreed or whatever. I didn't really care, but
you also need to develop a very thick skin.
Yes, that's exactly. Yes, because you're going to have critics. And I think this is one of the major reasons a lot of people stop blogging. I've had it for 9 years, so I really understand. It's crazy. Even just on a normal Facebook comment, you will see them. Do you understand? So you need to have a thick skin. That's where that confidence comes. When you're confident, when somebody comes to you, you definitely are not going to allow their words trigger you. Yeah. So you are going to be confident in your response. Because when I read Trey's response to that lady, I was so impressed, sincerely speaking. He was responding to her with so much confidence that even the lady later felt somehow for even dropping that kind of comment. I'm very sure I should have probably sat down somewhere and thought that I shouldn't have typed this. So you must be very constructive with your feedbacks when you're responding to your readers, because your readers will read your blog and they will tell you the spelling is not put right, your grammar is not put right. Why would you say this? You're a Christian, you're this, you're that. They will come and say different things. So you must be ready to be constructive with your feedback in such a way that it's positive and you guys are not going to have too much of conflicts, because if you have too much of conflicts, every now and then they will keep coming to your blog or your social media and be trolling you. So you will have trolls, you will have critics. Okay, I think we should differentiate them. We have trolls and we have critics. Critics are the ones that they want you to improve. They see some things and they'll be like, oh, you can do better, right? You can improve. Okay, here's my observation. I think you can do something different from what you're doing, or they will want to give you some advice, but you will know which one you will take and the one you will not take. But trolls are the ones that they don't have any value to offer. They are just there to condemn your work. So that's differentiation. You should take note of it, because a lot of people see critics as enemy. Sometimes your critics are not your enemy. Let me share one typical experience. Yesterday, I was on X and I was actually talking about a certain topic of motherhood and parenting stuff and all. And the lady, she actually saw my usage of English and she said, no, this is not how you put it. And then I was still, following her and be like, oh, what do you mean? Something like that. Then I went back and I went to confirm that what she said is actually correct. And then I went back on social media and I said, thank you for this. I just probably learned something from you, because if we had not interacted, I don't think I will know, because sometimes you may not know it all. So no man is an island. So I think another quality I want to say is don't be too arrogant. Don't feel like you know it all, because you don't know it all. Sometimes you may have the degree, you may have the certificate, you may be extremely very intelligent, but trust me, you will definitely make mistakes. So another quality is be ready to make mistakes and be ready to learn from it. Be learnable. I think be learnable. I will not say teachable. Be learnable. Be able to learn from other people. Okay, so I responded to the lady and I said, thank you for this. She didn't even reply me, because in her mind she was expecting me to fight with her. But later I replied her, I said, thank you for this. I took note of what you said and I really appreciate. So be learnable. Learn from other people. So your critics sometimes can teach you and you can learn from them. You can also teach them with whatever you blog, and they learn from you and they drop on the comment that say thank you for sharing. Then another thing you need to know is you need to I think I've said a lot. You need to persevere. You need to have a perseverance skill. You need to persevere. Sometimes you may be caught up with so many things in your budget, and sometimes the money you want to use to blog, because you will need internet. So sometimes maybe when you look at a lot of things and you be like, how much am I even making in this blog and all? Sometimes you don't look now, you look the future, especially if you know you want to make a career out of it, because you can still be doing this person's blog, or you can still be doing your personal blog, and you can still use that same experience to make money from another company. Okay, because when I started as a personal blogger, and later on I started managing different media brands. And like that, like that, like that. That's just how I've been independently. At first, I was doing 9 to 5, but later on, I switched back to entrepreneurship. So it's all about the experience. But some people, they can't persevere, so they give up. Once the critics will insult them, they'll say, after all this insult, where this person don't insult me, right? I'm not even interested again. How much am I making? Then last but not the least, be prayerful. Okay. I think some people will say, oh, I'm being too, this is not about being too religious. You need God in everything. So in your blogging career, pray. Pray about the name, you want to use. Tell God, this name I want to use, let it be a name that will favor me. Okay. And then pray about the career that as I'm into it, let it prosper me, let it move me, because it's not easy. I'm not even going to lie. The earnings in blogging is not the same as YouTube. There's so much difference between blogging earnings and trade. There's so much difference. Let me be honest with you. I'm always very honest. Now I'm going to give you an update of everything you need to know.